I said, and now here's through my folly, I'm going to give you my follies. I've said, about a decade ago, I started this channel giving 10 prophecies, and in it, one of them, it was a prophecy. It came via word of knowledge. I'm sitting down and I'm going to prayer, and you guys have heard this a million times, but this is where it's going to get really cool, because we're going to take the apologist point of view. I want you, those who are devil's advocates, really take your position and explain to me how this could happen. I'm seeing in the spirit two timelines come together. These two timelines, people say, lay out differently, but they all say, unless you're a preterist, you believe that these have already been fulfilled. And there's those out there that 1,335 days has already been fulfilled, and 1,260 has already been fulfilled, them being years. The futuristic crowd believe those two timelines happen in the 70th week. Hear me. I got to listening to Urban Baxter yesterday. I wanted to throw something at my television. Folks, I get so angry. I'm just talking. Should probably call this a rant. People don't understand why I get mad when I'm listening to false teachings. Do you want to know the crutch of it, folks? The core of it? A false teaching isn't simply just a false teaching. It is to send you to hell. Its first priority, the false teaching, if it can, is to send you to hell. Second thing it does is it is to deprive you, not of eternity, it's to deprive you of a fullness of life here while you're alive right now. That's the two priorities of false teaching. So to sit and say that, why am I getting upset when I hear people say, like Urban Baxter yesterday was saying all kinds of things I just want, he's wrong on. One of them has to do with what I'm saying right now, that the 1,260 days is the last half of the week. It's not the last half of the week. Let me show you. I can prove it to you. In fact, I used to think this, as I said in my book. In fact, to show you what I'm talking about, I believe I have to put down the graph. No, I don't know. You guys, I just don't have time for all these editings. Anyway, I'm watching in the spirit, and God spoke. That Jerusalem would suffer major loss and devastation, but that's when I'm looking at the 1,260-day line. These two timelines, 1335, 1260, overlay each other. They're not back-to-back or anything like that. And I saw it in the spirit. I went on YouTube, as I started to say, in October of 2016, said 75 days after Nisan, 75 days into the week, Jerusalem would be destroyed. And I said that. I had no way of proving it to you people. No way of proving. Until right now, today, I had no way of proving it. Until this, as I said in the book, here's the way you're going to be able to know that these two timelines are correct. If after Nisan of any year, first channel here starts saying Nisan was the opening of the week. That's the way it goes. If after Nisan, 75 days into the week, or 75 days after Nisan, you see Jerusalem being destroyed, its residents being kicked out, half of them being killed basically, and the house has gone through, and everything being destroyed, you know this. You're going to know that 75 days prior to this point in time, by the way, the 75 days in after Nisan generally brings you right around to Ramadan or in June. What a coincidence. 75 days later, in that, it's going to be pointing to the 1,260-day marker. Understand? Where people always put to the last, where Urban Baxter was putting to the last half of the week. No, it's 75. Here's how you do it. 1335 days starts in. Start your countdown to the day where you get delivered. At least that day. Blessed is he that waits and comes to the 13th and 35th day. What does that mean? Then you got 75 days later, you got a 1,260-day marker, and that's how long the duration is where Jerusalem has been destroyed and the woman's in the wilderness being helped by the earth. What delivers her? Everybody says that's Armageddon, again, because they put the 1,260 days at the end. No, as I saw it in the spirit, these two overlap. So 1335 days starts your countdown. 75 days later, you come to the 1,260-day marker where you've got Jerusalem being attacked. Once you see that, you now know this. These two timelines prove each other. If you can count forward and see it, obviously that timeline's correct. And it's the 1,260 days. 1,260 days proves to you 75 days earlier the week started. Do you see how they prove each other? Each proves the other. They are a confirmation to each. Hope you understand that. Okay, so One is confirming the other. You don't just get one confirming itself. Oh, no. You now know you're in the week. You now know 1260 days prior, 75 days prior to the 1260 day marker. You've got yourself the opening of the week. You also know both these points are going to take you to what? Deliverance of both. Couldn't prove it, though, until the week started, huh? So aggravating that I can't prove that's how these two timelines lay until the week opens. Of course, on retrospect, as I sit back and I think, taking the views I take, how could this and how could that? Because I enjoy it, folks. I'm on the same ride you're on. But I'm human. I'm on the same ride you're getting to go on. I go on it with you. And I analyze after these things because I don't know anything. Like John Paul said, he says, I don't know except what he tells me. Well, half the time I listen to other people, and that's where I've blown it. So the 70 weeks, I'm looking at the 70 years one day, and I'm thinking about the 70 years, what somebody else said to me, and God spoke and gave me the 70 weeks. Instantaneously, I knew a different meaning. What a coincidence. In the end, where everybody says we are. The 70 weeks broken up, 69 in the 70th. And the 69 being a Jubilee cycle plus 75 days into the week, Jerusalem is destroyed. Now, your genius here, apparently supposed to be 2 points shy of a genius IQ. No, I'm so stupid I can't even put the two together. Couldn't put them together. I didn't even see it. All I knew is that a Jubilee cycle plus 75 days into the next cycle, Jerusalem's getting destroyed. As I'm reading the text. Not even seeing this. Not even making the connection. Not understanding the other than no wonder it was sealed. No wonder nobody could figure it out. We couldn't see past the nose on our face because God said the book was sealed to the end. Why he separated the 7 from the 62. Different types of weeks. Duh. Now what's it done? It's sealed Daniel 9 anyway. That whole chapter's been sealed, including a lot of other things. So I'll get to in 1 second. So then one day, I took about a week out. God, where does this lay? Where does this lay? Where does it lay? I have to be sitting on my stupid bed, getting ready to go to sleep, and all of a sudden God talks. Well, I guess I'm completely quiet, and I see again my two timelines, or the two timelines that I couldn't prove until the week opened. That 75 days in, Jerusalem's destroyed. 1260 day marker. Wow. The 75 days into this, after the Jubilee cycle, 75 days in, Jerusalem's being destroyed. The city and the sanctuary are destroyed. There's your great epiphany moment that, I don't know why I couldn't see the two together. But I want you to think about this, folks. Forget the coincidence that all of a sudden it's a new timeline. It's a new meaning. It has nothing to do with 490 years. Forget that. If you're understanding, let's just run with this faith moment for a minute. How do you take two timelines, bring a 75-day interval into this two timeline period, bringing you to the destruction of Jerusalem? Everybody, again, the futuristic crowd believes these two timelines pertain to the 70th week. My supposed interpretation brought 75 days into the next cycle, or the week, the destruction of Jerusalem, 75 days in, relating to the 70th week. So you got the 70th week and the 70th week timelines relating to the 70th week. This in the 75 days in, time, you're talking about the 70th week again. Now you're also dealing with 75 days and 75 days. Not 75 days, not 80 days, not 90, not 76 days, not 71. No, two 75-day intervals. Now both these 75-day coincidental intervals bring you to the destruction of Jerusalem. How do you do that? Are there two 70th weeks? Are there two different 75-day intervals that are both going to bring you to two different points in time where Jerusalem is destroyed twice? I'm not even gonna argue that, folks. No, of course not. That's not possible. It's possible maybe to have one theory, but no, when you have two showing the same thing, now each confirms the other. Now, again, back to the point. I want to make sure I got this through to you, that each are confirming the other. You don't just come up with 270 weeks, two different ones, 270 weeks, 275-day intervals, both bringing you to the destruction of Jerusalem. You can't construct that. You can construct maybe one. And I told you the way to prove this, two timelines, the only way is for the week to open. Not anymore. Now this Jubilee cycle plus 75 days, or the 69 weeks, proves this, unless you think you can just make somehow 275-day intervals, both related to the week, to bring you to destruction. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And any apologist would know this. Anyone rationally thinking would know this. And what does it mean? Again, and listen to me, folks. Some of you be careful. You be very, very careful, please. Some of you people grieve me. And you're not just grieving me. You're grieving the Holy Spirit. You need to be careful what you do and what you say. Now, you may want your 490 years to be right, but it doesn't make any sense for it to be. I've just given more sense on how this is. And listen to this. Listen to this. If all I had, and which is why I get grieved with false teachers, because this is the very reason, if I just had just these two timelines, you know what I can show you via just these two timelines? I can show you how you're going to know for certain when you're in the week. 75 days in, you got a marker there to look at. Once that happens, you now know you're in the week, and the 1335-day timeline is also correct, because both these timelines take you to the same point in time. What can I also show you? I can show you pre-tribbers, post-tribbers. I can show you a mid-trib rapture. I can show you a mid-trib rapture. These two timelines now confirm the other, unless you think I could construct this any other way. I can also show you your belief in Daniel 9:27 is wrong if I just had just these two. Why? Because 75 days in to the week, to the 70th week, 70th week related timelines take you to the destruction of Jerusalem, the city and the sanctuary, according to this. You believe the 490 year thesis, 69 weeks was done then. It didn't take you to the destruction of Jerusalem. You say Messiah was cut off, but you didn't get to the destruction of Jerusalem on the 69 weeks, did you? No, that happened several decades later after his crucifixion, which he was cut off. Messiah was cut off, but not for himself. That doesn't make any sense. Not according to the verse. The Messiah gets cut off, but not for himself. I remember the crucifixion being the glorifying of our Lord. He was glorified. He took him to himself. And salvation for all. He's Lord. He, not for himself. This is not the crucifixion of 69 weeks. Anyway, I don't know why I'm even bothering. You should be able to make all this make sense. And now you know that the 27th verse was also sealed, because what does this mean? If 75 days in, that our interpretation of the 27th verse is obviously wrong again? Isn't it? 75 days in, Jerusalem's destroyed. The city and sanctuary is destroyed. By the way, sanctuary doesn't have to necessarily mean the temple. Sanctuary is interchangeable with the word church. There's the church over there in Jerusalem too, folks. And there's all kinds of churches over there. Some pretty old ones. Anyway, 75 days in, from these two timelines, tells you that the Antichrist didn't stand up, did he? Did he? He didn't form a peace treaty, did he? I'm telling you, the meaning behind the 27th verse was also sealed. God spoke that to me one day too. That was a jaw-dropper day. I'll never forget these moments, folks. So 75 days in, it's destroyed. There was no peace treaty there that lasts for 7 years for this peace guy to break it in the middle of the week, is there? There's no resuming of sacrifices, is there? So there's no new temple, because 75 days, if there is, it's gone 75 days in. Whatever there is gone. No peace treaty. No Antichrist. This shows you, this contradicts that thesis, but only confirms prophecy that the book really was sealed. But how did I do this? See, I know people are out there saying, what's going to be 2020, because we're going to see better. You want to hear something this channel is going to tell you? Based on what I just told you, they're all going to be blind as a bat. All looking for the Antichrist. All looking for the peace treaty. All looking for the 7 years. All looking for the new temple. All looking for sacrifice. Not according to these two timelines, and just these two timelines. And folks, if you want to learn more, get the book. I'm not here to push the book. I'm here to show you. I'm here to talk. I'm talking to YouTube. I'll never talk this way on TV because I know my audience is different here. But I'm wanting to take those that are even the most skeptical to actually take a step back and say, how do you do this? The more variables you have, the more probable it's true. Just rationalize it out again. You can't do this. You can't. Now, I know some of you have already forgot. Some of you don't even hear what I'm saying. It goes in one ear, not the other. And that's fine because you are why the book was sealed. And every time I talk about certain things, I feel it within my spirit on what I'm supposed to say and what I'm not supposed to say. And some of you get mad at me and you say it's not God. How could it not be? That hurt me when I said that right there. It is sealed from some of you who are listening. Now, on this channel, you should be thankful, just as I am every single day, that the things you're hearing, you don't hear on other channels. Oh, you eventually do, but you hear it here first. Watch the show next week, or actually in a few days. Look for more to come. Until next time, take care and God bless.